Well, sitting here with Conquest of Pangeae, and to tell you the truth, I thought yellow was running away from with this. But with a few hits, they're not really. They're at 11, 20, 23 points. Let's look what we got here. 24 points. Uh-oh, they're in second. 12, 22, 29 points. Red's in the lead. Wow. That changes the whole flavor. Yellow's in third place, actually. They looked like they were really potent with their positioning, with their free continent, etc. But they haven't gathered all the points that they had a lot. It's just they lost a couple of them in the last turn. So that swing, it is within range of anyone. And right now we're sitting at 19 points. That means 6 more. The average card is going to blow this out of the water. Yellow's got to figure out a way to grab a bunch of points fast. And I'll come back and try to see how I can do that. An easy place to get a bunch of points, let's pick on the weakling. Move the leader in here, got an extra piece. Now they can do a growth operation, and they've got to pay at least 5. They'll use the stones for that. They're going to make, I believe, well, they may actually save some pieces and make an attack here as well. They don't have to actually make an attack there to gain control of that. So they're going to pay 3 stones to advance into here and steal that hills. And then they've got to spend 5 to get in here. And they're going to make that attack. They think they've got a shot at this, and if they win it, they're only in second place. But maybe the card will allow them to hit red. Yellow spent enough of their cards, a fairly big pile, but they're going to get 2 of the 3 that were expended back. Permanent expenditures. Not that the game's going to last long enough for them to get another pile. Blue chose not to play, which may have been a mistake. They're losing their 5-point planes. That gives a planes advantage to these, which is speed, avoid loss from volcano. That's not the one they have. They have hills, I believe. Yeah. Okay, and now they're going to get 2 of these 3. I just grab the top 2. I don't know how they're positioned. So they have some cards to defend themselves still. And hey, maybe it's over. And indeed it is. Volcano erupts. This is going to be over on green. That's not going to finish the game in their favor. Eliminate 1 population marker from this continent. You may not eliminate a population from a lake. Well, it's going to have to be one of their own. Doesn't really matter. They didn't lose anything. But this is probably... Oh no, there's 2 territories here. I thought there was only 1 connected. So we end up going down to this one, sliding off. We still got a connection there. These go away, and the game's not over. I was misplagued there. No big deal. But we move on to the blue turn. And blue's in a lot of trouble. I mean, they have been all game, right? They've got to try to fight their way out. Maybe they can break their way out through red or something. Well, no, they've only got 1 anywhere except down here. They could win down here. Well, tan's in the same kind of interesting position as yellow thought they were in. Here's what they're going to do. They can just grow twice here for 10. They're going to spend 5 plus their 5 beads. Get 2 markers here. That takes their planes away from red, and that's within limits. So red loses a 5-point swing. Hey, that's pretty good. Now we're at 10, 20, 29, and he's at 18, 28, 29, 30, 31. We got a problem against tan now. Or against yellow. Now against yellow, I triggered this. All I need is 3 to capture that. Now I've got 1 of these cards that I'm going to get back. No, I'm going to get 1 card back. So this is the question. Do I want to trigger? Well, I'll trigger a big card. They go under in the order placed, but I don't know that that's really the case. I'll trigger another big card, drop that in, and grab a Hills from them. That's given me enough points that I should be in the lead. This was flipped, so it's going under there. These are going back, and basically, I don't know how to make this decision. I'll roll on, I get the top one. Even I'm getting the bottom one as my card. Now the game could end right here in a tan victory. We got a 15 million year card. There could be another big one. There's not quite. It's Study the Sky and 8 million. It says take a raft. Yay. He's got this whole pile of rafts and he's aqua able. Alright, now it's Red's turn. And again, it's getting pretty close. There's almost nothing except a no break that would prevent Red from ending the game here. So they've got to think about their turn very carefully and see, can they force a win? Now, being the guy who moves last in this kind of situation, certainly Tan could have moved last. They could have drawn a bigger card. It was unlikely. But in this position, Red is almost certain they're going to end it. And given that, if they're in a position that they can take extra points, they need to do it. So it turns out Red doesn't even have to take a risky battle here. They've got a growth potential here where they can drop 2 counters in there for 12 points. Let's see if they have them. They're 5. This is in legs. No one can defend against this. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 2 cards, no battle. I'm not going to get one of these 2 cards, so I probably want to throw weaker cards in. So what is it? 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Really? 5, 7, 8? No. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I need 3 more points. I'm going to drop 2 cards in for 3 points. These are all upside down. The only real reason the cards matter... I think these are mine. I don't know. The only reason the cards matter here... Oh no, those are the ones I'm throwing. In terms of order, is if somebody else goes, what do they get? So those will go under in the normal order. I just took a lake. I'm not aqua capable. I don't have that ability. So I've just gained a new defense for my territories. I forgot to put my tokens in. One goes under. One goes above. Now I could have also done the expansion here, but that wouldn't have won me the area. This area is full now. It's pretty big at a lakes. I get an extra card. And now, that's going to be the end. Mini Ice Age. Eliminate 1 or 2 population markers from one area on this continent. This is the red continent. Oh, terrible. I'm going to take 2 tan ones away. And that gets me a plains as well. Which I think clearly gave the victory very deeply to Red. As you can see, the end game is kind of wacky. You know, you've got maybe this lucky draw at the end after all this thinking. In the 2-player game, I don't feel like it was quite that weird. I don't feel like it had that same feeling. I felt like the game very much was controlled by one of the players who just had the more cards. But in this one, there was enough balance that it became, hey, who gets the lucky draw where the game ends? And the continents break apart. And we can do a quick count on the points here. 10, 19, 25, 28. 1. What do we got here? 10, 15, 19, 21. And 18, 28, 32, 35. So, you know, we do have some feeling, but it felt like it was a complete toss-up among everyone except Blue, who got blown out. And once you get in that position, it's almost impossible, because you have no recurring powers, and that was one of their problems. even what they drew here didn't help them. They had 1 point that they could reuse. So it was very difficult. That one random factor that comes into play, very difficult to overcome that, as well as a starting position that didn't give them a leader, so they weren't able to generate the extra force each turn. What we didn't see here, we didn't see what I saw in the two-player game, which was this economy of force that came about as the force pools got too small. Now, you start with different size force pools in each game. So in the 4-player game, you start with only 25 pieces, whereas in the 2-player game, you start with 30. Well, I'm beginning to think I'd want to cut that even more, because there's something very intriguing that happens where you can barely do anything because all your pieces are off the board. They've been combated. Now, it may be a simple fact that we didn't see enough combat early on. The dead pile isn't very big here. It's hard to choose to combat when doing so weakens you for the next couple players. You don't just get the, you're not just facing one person, you're facing everyone. So that may be one of the balance factors in here, is that, yeah, maybe players who understand the game better would make attacks earlier on. I don't know. It didn't feel like a clever idea to me. And really, it felt like a Kingmaker type of situation. I mean the game Kingmaker, not the idea of a Kingmaker in the game. Which is to say, you didn't want to do anything until you wasted the power deck and knew once you could start attacking, you would get your cards back, that your situation would not get any worse. It doesn't get worse normally. You throw your cards, you get more back, but everybody else is gaining without throwing their cards. So that's kind of the magical thing here, and what you wanted to do, and what you want in a Kingmaker game. If we can find that up here somewhere, there it is there's a situation in the game where you come to where you can lose your nobles and they'll come back to you because they're the only card in the deck. And that's what's happening here, and that's what held off the attacks. Now, in the 2-player game, there was nothing like that because it was pure competition. But it was very easy to maintain a complete dominance of the game by getting an early start. It was similar to what we saw happen to Blue, but not to that degree. Just a slight edge with rechargeable powers allowed me, in this case, to kind of continue attacking without, or at least expanding, without my opponent being able to attack. And eventually, when you're out of pieces and the board is full, everything's got to be attacked. And eventually it comes down to there's just no pieces left. It's just an interesting dynamic that I would have liked to have shown here. And I think by lowering the number of pieces, you may see that. Say drop this from, let's see what we got here. You could easily drop another 5. And in this game, you still wouldn't see the full force of that dynamic. That's just as an example of how extreme it felt. Now, without all, I don't know. And it could be the time deck just ran differently in this or whatever. But I would definitely reduce the pieces more and give that as a shot, as kind of an interesting tweak on this for the 4-player game. I think you'll find something very interesting happening there. All right, I'll come back with a review.